David, you gotta help me. I need help. I'm all wound up, and I gotta finish this story by tomorrow.
All wound up? What in the world did you do, Donald?
I just finished a big work shift where everyone yelled at me. The customers kept asking me to check the back. My taxes are due soon. My hamster keeps humping his exercise wheel. I had 2 Mountain Dews plus an Americano, and my agent told me the deadline to finishing my first draft is tomorrow morning.
Come on, that's ridiculous. I mean, you don't even have an agent.
All right, you got me there, but still, I'd like to finish this story by tomorrow. I've got a bunch of other stuff to take care of. This hamster won't stop going nuts on his exercise wheel, but I'm in no state to write right now. I'm too frantic. My mind can't slow down enough to create.
Aw, man, that's too bad. Here, why don't you sit down on this open chair and try to relax?
I don't know if it'll help, David. My neurons are firing like 1,000,000 rounds a minute. Wait, what are you doing with that quarter?
Just putting it into the chair. Don't worry about it, Donald. Don't worry about a thing.
Oh, man. This is a massage chair? Oh, but it's doing more. It's like it's massaging my brain.
That's because it is, Donald. More specifically, it's massaging the creative side of your brain, also called the right side. Introducing the creative muscle massage chair, which winds down any frantic energy and lets your mind focus on nothing but pure creation.
Oh, yeah. All the worries of the day are gone. My hamster can just go screw himself. I've got a book to write. All the ideas are flowing.
They certainly are, Donald. Just a few minutes in the creative muscle massage chair will get you back into writing mode, no matter how frenzied or exasperating the day has been.
It's really, really nice, David. You should join me in this chair.
Whoa, okay. Calm down there, Donald. I'll get my own chair, thank you.
Yeah, get your own chair and create with me.
Look, Donald, I think you're great and all, but I don't like the kind of energy I'm getting from you here.
Get your mind out of the gutter, David. Gay panic jokes are so 90s. I just want to share this wonderful experience with you. I think you'll like it as a writer.
Oh, well, I am a writer. I suppose I'll go around on the creative muscle massage chair. Here, I'll sit on this one over here. Put the quarter in, and... Oh, yeah. That feels so good on my brain.
Isn't it just great, David? Great for the writing muscles.
Oh, yes, Donald. This is really, really great for the writing muscles.
Well, my chair stopped, so I'm ready to get back into writing. Thanks for recommending the chair, David.
Of course.
The creative muscle massage chair. Guaranteed to
help writers with... Oh, I'm too relaxed, Donald. You finish the ad for me.
I can't finish the ad. I've got to go write. My creative muscles have been thoroughly massaged. Although I suppose that finishes the ad far more effectively than me just saying anything to sum it up.
Oh, yeah. Welcome, fellow nerds, to another episode of the Writ, the show with a doctorate in podcast writing and a PhD in bullcrap.
We're very qualified in that last one. Scatologists, you and I.
All right. I had a friend who had an MS degree.
Yes.
Or a BS degree, an MS degree, and he said, "Yep, I got the bull degree. Then I got a more degree, and then later it just got piled higher and deeper."
Nice. Well, speaking of piled higher and deeper, What kind of writing have we piled ourselves into?
Piled ourselves.
What are the big
What kind of writing have we piled up since last time?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, we, the Rich Wit, have writ.
All right, you go. Your turn.
Well, for me, I met my word count goal for December despite a vacation.
Yeah. You got to write on the beach.
No, I did not write on the beach. I didn't write it all down there.
Aw.
But anyway, it is worth mentioning that I purposely set it low because I knew I was going on vacation.
Right.
But hey, I met the goal.
Did
it's
you
not
beat
like
it
I
by
just,
a lot or just a little?
Only by a little bit, and like the last, pretty much the day before the end of the month.
Okay.
So.
All right.
But, I baked that in. That's why I set the count lower.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I didn't make as much progress in my stories as I hoped. I found a project that captured my interest and got quite a few words from that, but it wasn't like a story that I'd already
Right,
been doing.
right. I do that a lot for my stuff, yeah.
Sure, I wasn't doing stuff that has no value, but when you compare them to like a blog post about your hobbies, again,
Right.
it's not terribly consequential.
Isn't that the truth?
I have a word count in mind for January when we are recording this, and a laundry list of works that should contribute to that. Like, I literally thought, I think I want to work on this, and I pulled all those files out and got all of those documents in one place so I can put them all on this laptop right here, actually.
Right.
Right. And I'm making some progress.
Yay! Progress.
Slowly.
Some progress.
Slowly.
Yes.
No thanks to that massive Power Rangers exodus from Netflix.
I mean, that's very important. You've got to watch all that stuff. I mean,
you
can't not, right?
Well, okay. I feel like I can't not because otherwise I'd have to sail the high seas. To
Har,
get the rest
har,
of it.
har.
Third time we made that joke.
We got to do it the final time now. That's what we do. You did this to yourself.
No, you did it the first 2 times.
You did the third. I was going to let it go this time, but you brought it back.
Speaking of which, you've let go of your segues.
Yep.
Anyway, no, but so there's an announcement on January 2nd that they were doing everything after Mighty Morphin all the way up to the season that released only 2 years ago.
Mm.
And everything in the middle was going to be removed from Netflix starting in February.
Okay.
I'm like, oh crap, there's some that I haven't seen yet.
So you
Starts
gotta get
watching
on
those.
it, and so you don't have to scrub the poop deck.
Har, har, har.
Har har har.
Speaking of poop deck, what have you been...
Ouch!
No, I'm kidding.
All right. Well, mainly the usual work on Tesla Knots and stuff for the podcasts. Work on Tesla Knots has admittedly slowed down a bit due to my usual areas I write at being closed down for the pandemic.
Yeah.
Things are slowly starting to open up, but with regulations. But
Well, we went to Code Orange. The governor of our state decided to do that, and it's made quite a difference, just not full open.
Right, and I think the place I like to write at isn't quite doing that yet, but it will soon, hopefully. We'll see. I mean, there's this second, thing that's like...
I wonder if that's a corporate mandate from that particular place, because, we're supposed to be in our counties.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
We'll see, but anyway.
That has nothing to do with the podcast. We'll move on.
All right, so I'm really bad at writing at home, you see. But
too many distractions.
Too many.
You don't turn off your internet or unplug the router or whatever.
Well, I can't turn off my internet to write now because I write on Google Docs. I'm afraid if I get that off the internet, it won't save all my changes.
So you open it in a word processor and click save.
But I need to get a word processor. This computer doesn't have a word processor because it's a Chromebook. So Microsoft Word doesn't work on it.
LibreOffice. Try it. It's free. That's what
I'll
using.
write that down. Hold on.
LIBRE Office.
LIBRE. Libre.
LibreOffice. And it's a free download.
It's free. Okay. All right.
No, that's not the... Oh, that's what you're saying. Get it. I thought you were making a joke. Anyway.
No.
So yeah, you're bad at...
That'd be with a question mark. Right?
Yeah, you're bad at writing at home because you like doing a bunch of other things when you're at home.
Yes.
Which, I mean... From one perspective, you have a place where you do your writing. You have a place where you do your work. You have a place where you do your home life, right? That makes sense. If you can separate everything, that works great. If you can't, and you still feel compelled to do it, then you find a way.
That's what I need to do. I need to find a way.
You haven't.
Matt has not found a way. Life may have found a way, but I haven't. Matt isn't me. Donald hasn't one.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Anyways, But also, for my other show, Paleobites, this is pretty cool. I got an email from a podcast status watching site that said during the month of December, it was number 72 in the U.S. ranking of most downloaded podcasts in the nature category.
I mean, it's more nature than just about any other category except maybe humor, so...
Well, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, I talk about this later. Like, this is why it's a handy tip for content creators. It's best to have incredibly narrow categories for your work on certain websites. For that makes it more likely to get higher in the rankings, which helps boost the algorithm that helps people discover it. Like Amazon does the same thing for its books.
Fair.
So keep that in mind, self-published authors. But naturally, this does lead me to think there's not a lot of podcasts that are in the nature category.
Well, and you forgot to mention, you mentioned this on Facebook. If listeners happen to follow him on Facebook, you mentioned that it also is in the top 100 in Canada.
Yeah, it's like number 79 there. Makes sense there's more nature podcasts in Canada.
Maybe that makes sense.
There's more nature in Canada, so...
There's certainly a lot of inhospitable areas in Canada.
But yeah, so like I'm hot stuff, it seems. Subscribe to my OnlyFans, listeners.
Oh, because hot stuff. Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, was that this episode?
Hold on, let me check. Yes, it was. Okay.
Oh, jeez. Yay for coincidences. Anyway.
All right.
We're back with the Witties, but because 2020 was a really... very special year in many ways, both
special
good and bad.
Is the nicest way you could describe
both good and bad for various people.
Mostly bad, yes.
Well,
except for drive-in
maybe
theaters.
Personally,
Yeah.
But for what it's worth, I mean, I know several people who got married in 2020. So
that's true. One of our best friends got married in 2020.
Yeah,
we were at their wedding. We were groomsmen.
Yeah. But thanks to how the pandemic affected the way we consume media. Streaming services got a major boost in 2020.
Yes.
Good year for them.
Yes, indeed.
But unfortunately, the models that we had relied on for so long were challenged.
Yes. So not
unequivocally challenged.
One of the only areas of media that was not affected too bad by it was video games. Like everything else, movies, TV shows.
Well, to be fair,
music. Yeah.
I have heard that anime and probably cartoons for the same reason didn't have too much of a hit because the trade-off was instead of this major recording studio, you just did it from your home.
Yes.
And people could still do their work and stay safe and you could still release
It's
things.
more like for movies, the problem was releasing them.
That's definitely true.
So
instead of, this year we didn't have to make up for not doing one. So we were like, well, how do we fill the rest of this set? So, as you can see from the title, we're also opening it up to stuff that's not from 2020 this year.
But most of this we
week.
should preface we watched for the first time in 2020.
That's the thing. It's stuff that we discovered in 2020 because of all that extra time that opened up, because of all the things that changed. But this is stuff that's not from 2020 that we experienced in 2020. And we'll talk about this stuff that was affected by 2020 next week. So, small spoiler alert for that. But anyway, we'll get right to it now. You do it to yourself.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking that. But
all right. So we'll start with the category work others should have ripped off by now.
AKA best work we saw /read /played not for 2020.
We'll go with this. Nominee.
Inception. See, this is Christopher Nolan may have lost my respect this year, but he still releases some damn good movies. Inception, I remember when it came out, everyone was just going oh my God, it's so good. I really like this movie. It's going to win all the Oscars. That was my Inception fan voice. I was like, oh, this is an overrated piece of crap. So I didn't watch it for a long time because I was just so sick of it. And so when 2020 started, I was like, let's watch it. It's on Netflix. It's really good. It's a good movie.
Maybe it was somewhat warranted.
Yeah, I guess so. I can't imagine watching it in a theater. It's just
Man, well, I mean, this is my thing. You might have noticed, eagle-eared listeners. Dog-eared listeners, there we go.
Yes.
Might have noticed that I didn't really have too many nominees in the stuff that actually came out in 2020 because my usual take on media consumption is I don't want it to be current.
Right, yeah.
Because I'm kind of weird that way.
See, this is why...
I prefer following up on things that, I can follow up. Now, movies obviously exempt from that for obvious reasons. They don't really have follow-ups except like sequels.
Right.
But like TV shows?
Yeah, well, that's why I figured you'd like this part of the Witties better than some of the other parts, so.
No, I'm not going to say you're wrong. But anyway.
All right.
So, finding things after they've already hit their popularity. Glee, mentioned a ton 2 years ago.
Glee.
I still like that show.
You would, but
I've got one more season to go. I'm going to get to it soon.
I heard you're probably past the point where people started to think it really cratered in quality. So
well, I mean, most of the actors changed over in like season 4 or 5. So
no, I
anyway,
know.
Nominee.
Spider-Man PS4. I mean, I've always liked Insomniac, so I just didn't get around to this because like I'm not really a big fan of open world games. They're a bit too like. Intimidating for me.
Sure, because there's so much you could do. Where do you go?
But it's not really that big of an open world. Like it's just New York.
Well, I was about to say it's
not
probably,
even all of New York. It's just
probably
Manhattan.
equivalent. It's probably the about as open world as Pokemon. In that, you try and go somewhere, but there's somebody standing there blocking your way.
Well, the nice thing is it kind of makes sense because it's Spider-Man. So you're on Long Island.
So here's a question for you, and this is a kind of a nuanced thing, so I'm sure you probably think a little differently than me. Would you call it open world if the setup was you could basically go anywhere and it's massive, like massive map, but the game kind of shepherds you in a certain direction so you don't go too early or something? Would that still be open world?
That's actually how it normally is. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is actually an interesting case where it is open world, and you can end it anytime.
And what?
The final boss is exactly where it is.
Oh, because you know where it is.
The problem is you're not usually prepared for it. You're not leveled up enough.
No,
your
equipment's bad.
But you can go and challenge him and end the game whenever you want. So if you're like, okay, I'm leveled up enough where I think this could be a really cool challenge and it'd be great if I could beat him, it's not stopping you.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of interesting. So
yeah, but on the other hand, I kind of like it where it lets you not you're at level 1 and then you see this enemy that you happen to run into and it's like level
20.
99. And
Right.
it's like, oh my God!
I'm not prepared. All right.
Prepare to die. Anyway, but yeah, Spider-Man PS4, I've heard a lot of good things about too. Like particularly the web slinging mechanic in it was
great.
Like really amazing.
It's great, yeah.
They put a ton of time into that from development articles I read too. So
story's great.
Really nice package.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not guilty of some of the problems of Cyberpunk 2077 to reference our last
Nope,
episode.
definitely not.
But it wasn't from 2020 anyways.
I would have played Spider-Man Miles Morales, but that wasn't PS5. There was a PS4 version, but I was like,
Well, I'm going to get the PS5. I might as well wait anyway.
yeah, so.
Nominee.
Community. This is a great show. It kind of peters off. Peters off. TP's off.
More like PO's off.
PP's off after the 3rd season, but that's pretty good. The first 3 seasons are great.
I believe the term you're looking for, not peters off, it peters out, or it tapers off.
Tapers off. I was thinking. That's why I said teepers off. I was thinking peters. I know peters off implies that it doesn't
out.
Yeah,
like runs out.
Yeah. No. It
tapers off is like.
It dips a lot in season 4 and onward, but but season 1 through 3 are great.
Yeah. Just so you know, this next one I'm going to love, listeners, but I'm actually gonna hijack it. I think I might have mentioned this to Donald, but
Nominee.
The
more action-packed episodes of Zyuranger.
And I was so desperate to keep this in here originally because here was something that Donald actually watched Sentai, which we're like, oh my God, mark the calendar. It took him forever to finish it, but mark the calendar. However, there was something that I experienced at the very end of 2020, and I absolutely wanted to put it on here, but I didn't want to put too many nominees. So, as the gateway, Sentai, I watched the series Flashman. Oh my God, it was amazing! I'd been waiting so long.
Oh, put it on here. Who cares?
Well, we already had 5 nominees, and I didn't want to.
Well, it's not like it's gonna, unless you think it's gonna win. No.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't know, so it probably won't. But I mean, like the whole.
Well, you
thing,
wouldn't know any of these others. So.
I know about Spider-Man PS4 and Inception, and
I guess that's true.
I know about very little about
let's
Community.
call it like a special achievement award. You know those awards where like they don't really get nominated for Oscars, but you know they're like we're just pat them on the head.
You know what it is? It's the Lifetime Achievement Award. It's like, oh, you haven't won an Oscar. What the hell were we doing wrong?
Well, it's more like stuff like Andy Serkis, who's great with mocap. And they're like, we don't want to nominate this for acting because we don't think it's real acting, even though it absolutely is. But here, have this special achievement award, and we'll just here you go. It's okay, Mr. Serkis.
Congratulations, you made it, Gollum.
Yep. Anyway, so.
But yes, so I watched the series Flashman. It's an older show, but I tell you, one of the best end game stories I have seen in the Sentai the entire time, and I've watched over 40 of those shows.
Nice.
Oh my God, it was amazing. And to wait so long and to finally be gratified in a place where I could see it all at once. I literally had less than a week to do this before I went down to my vacation.
Okay.
Less than a week. Finished it in 4 days.
Wow.
50 episodes.
Okay, here's a question.
It was amazing.
Do you like this more than Watership Down, which is the next nominee? Nominate Watership Down.
Yes, but I wanted to have Watership Down on here because
it's a book.
It's the book, and it's a seminal work that I read, and it's the only novel we have in our nominees. So
I think we should include Flashman. Who cares if it's a 6th nominee?
Let the record show. I am typing the series.
Because it sounds like you really, really, really like it. So,
like, I would recommend it to you, and you hate Sentai.
I don't hate Sentai. I'm
just don't like
indifferent.
Anyway, I really love that show.
Anyways,
but the last nominee,
as we said,
Watership Down. But the novel version, because there apparently is a Netflix TV show now.
And there was an old movie. Watch it with the kids, listener. No.
Yeah. It is by Richard Adams, by the way. I didn't credit the author. Literally, I mentioned this earlier in the year that on the cover it says anyone who can read English should read this book.
Well, damn it, I can't read it then.
I have it. I still have it. I can
No, I
loan it
can't
to you.
read it. I can't read English. What's English? Me no English.
And you're on this podcast, and you're self-published 4 times.
And I'm an
using
English major.
language.
And I'm an
right.
And I'm an English major.
I mean, English is a really messed up language, but to say you don't know it after publishing 4 freaking books.
No, that was in my own language.
Oh, yes. Gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook again.
Goobican. What the heck is Goobican? All right. We have to figure out a winner.
Double women, but never double ribbit women. A more double women divvies.
It is worth mentioning, listeners, in case you could not tell, he has practiced that particular
No, I haven't
before.
I mean, yes, I have.
Yeah. Might have been a long time, but you used to use that with your sister, I think.
Yes.
But I don't remember the code, so I can't translate it. Anyway. All
right, what's the winner?
That we need to figure that out. Probably not Community.
Yeah, why not?
Because it tapers off.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
I would honestly go with, Jeez. The sad reality is no matter how much I love Flashman, and no matter how much I enjoyed Watership Down more than I expected to, I think it's got to be Inception.
Really? I thought you were going to like Spider-Man PS4, because not only is it Spider-Man, it's also Insomniac Games, who did Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. But, if you look at it as they should have ripped it off by now, it's hard to rip off Spider-Man and succeed. Like, Miles Morales is more of an exception than a rule.
I guess that's true.
And Inception is something you can make a mind bender of your own, whereas Spider-Man, you can't make a character who has that kind of cachet, that kind of success,
you can make a
that
character
relatability.
You could make a character like him, though, but...
Maybe so. And obviously, for people in the game industry, they're trying to make the next Spider-Man for PS4.
That's true.
But
okay, but this is also just best work we saw. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's...
Well, without this turning into a your winner, my winner thing... I guess we'd have to come to the middle and say
no. I think you're probably right. Because it's probably the best one too out of any of us too.
Well, I mean, you experienced those directly. I did not.
Well, that hasn't stopped us before. So.
No, it hasn't because we're so totally qualified to do this.
All right.
Are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
The winner is...
Inception.
Yeah, keep on incepting.
My mind is blown. But no, both. Well, I'm really glad that you did finish Zyuranger this year. But the reason I wanted to make sure you kept that is because it will come back in the next category, which is works others should have never ripped off.
AKA worst work we saw / played not from 2020.
Nominee.
The Velocipaster. Listen to my Paleobites Patreon episode about it.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. It's in a technical sense it's bad, but it's also really great, guys.
It's worth mentioning here. If you are not if you are not a patron, you can check that out at patreon.com/MatthewDonald.
Yes.
It unlocks bonus if you support us at a certain tier. It also unlocks exclusive episodes, and that's what he's referring to for Paleobites. Just so you know.
Okay.
All right. So the Velocipaster. God, that's a
Nominee.
Any episode of Parks and Rec where Tom Haverford was the focus. Great show overall, but man, Tom was the worst.
That has no context to me, who's never really seen Parks and Rec, but okay.
Who cares? Let's not go into context.
Everybody is someone's favorite. Anyway,
Nominee.
The more kid-focused episodes of Zyuranger.
You see why you had to keep your other nominee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Zyuranger did something really... Well, okay, Sendai in general does this more frequently than the U.S. adaptation, but Zyuranger in particular, because the main villain had a thing against children.
Right.
There were always children who were afflicted by her various plots and misdeeds. And so sometimes they would have children be like focal side character for an episode. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really cheesy. I mean, the whole thing is cheesy.
Well, really cheesy
But
for
like in a
one,
bad
but also
way.
really cheesy for one, but consider that child actors, even the best child actors, are still children.
It kind of helps, though, that they're speaking a language that I don't understand. So we just read the
Subtitles.
subtitles. So I can't tell how badly they're acting as much as that they were speaking English.
It's not necessarily that they're obviously bad at acting, because obviously they got chosen over some other kid.
Mm-hmm.
But like, particularly where, I mean, there are some things that even somebody who doesn't understand the language, you could understand the context of, oh, this kid is supposed to be screaming out and they look like they're just confused.
Right.
That kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, in general, the hyper focus on children in Zyuranger, which part and parcel of that show, but oh my goodness, it's not great.
Yeah, that's one thing Power Rangers does better. Instead, focuses on slightly bigger children in high school.
Bring me teenagers with attitude.
As they say in the intro. But for what it's worth, the kids themselves are the problem. I mean, the episodes, because they're fronted by a kid who's mostly afflicted by this plot, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's part of Zyuranger. And when I got to that show, it was not as fun for me as Power Rangers, and that is most certainly nostalgia rearing its ugly head.
Of course. But still. All right. Finally.
Nominee.
I'm going to do this one because I put it on here.
Yes.
Power Rangers Megaforce and Super Megaforce. I mentioned that I appreciated the end result a couple weeks ago. If you want to go back and listen to, I think it was 112 or whatever. Ding! Which is our first one this entire set.
Yes.
My God!
Ding! Yeah.
Throw an extra in there just for fun.
Ding, ding, ding.
Anyway, so, you know, I mentioned that I appreciate the end result, but there's just so much going on.
Yeah, sometimes you got to slow down, you know? You got
Yeah, the pacing of it was ridiculous. Now, keep in mind, I try and be even keel about all kinds of media. Horrid, great. I try not to get too overboard.
Right.
See the good parts, recognize there could be bad parts. Here's the problem. Megaforce was an unwanted throw-in.
Yeah.
I'll try and keep this as quick as I can.
Of course.
From Japan, the U.S. Saban in particular borrows the footage from previous Sentai shows to repackage as Power Rangers. And they had this amazing Sentai about that was focused on a team of pirates that could transform into all the old heroes.
Right.
Called Gokaiger.
Okay.
That was an anniversary thing. Well, they wanted to adapt Gokaiger, which allowed them to use all the old suits.
Right.
But Toei was thinking they were going to skip over the show that came before it.
Oh, wow.
So they're like, no, you can't do that. You have to do this one too.
Okay.
Literally. Throw in. Right?
Yeah, that's.
Okay, so the show that came before it had 3 different villain factions over the course of 50 episodes.
Yeah, that's too much. I mean, it can be
3 different factions.
That can be cool for like a big epic story.
Now, here's the thing. How many episodes did Megaforce have? I'll tell you, dear listener, 20!
Yeah, that's not enough. And these are like 20
and
minutes.
And they're 20-minute episodes.
Yeah.
And they had to cover all of that ground just so they could get to the one they wanted to do.
That's dumb.
Well, and the other problem with it is that they basically had 40% of the runtime to cover as much of that content as they wanted to get.
Wow, okay.
You see why I say frantic pacing.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, like, there was a villain faction, and maybe in the Sentai it was there for a reasonable 15-ish episodes, but in the adaptation in Megaforce, that villain only exists for, like, not even 8.
Wow, that's not enough.
To get through so they can get to the
That's
other
too
villains,
much.
so they can get to the new series that they actually wanted to do.
That's poorly planned.
Well, it's poorly executed.
Yeah.
They planned it the best they could. They were given a crappy hand.
I guess that's true. It's poorly executed, maybe, and planned, I guess, all right for what they had, but still not planned great because of what they had.
The end result, I appreciate the end result. It was frantic as heck. It was they even redid the show that the suits that they had used for the previous in Megaforce were their basic suit. And the one from the next Sentai, the one they wanted to do where they could transform into all the other heroes,
right.
was just an upgrade.
Well, whoops.
And of course, in Japan, there's no footage of them going from this one show turning into the other, so they had to make all of that originally. All of the stuff that they had. Gokaiger celebrated 35 years.
Oh, wow.
Power
Nice.
Rangers didn't have that.
Not yet.
They barely had 20.
Not yet.
So they had to cut out footage that they couldn't use because here's a person we've never seen an American show before.
God.
It's a mess.
You know,
by the way, that Gokaiger show had 50 of its own episodes.
well, that's better than 20.
Super Megaforce only had 20.
Yeah.
So you're cramming 100 episodes worth of content
Into 20
into
minutes.
40.
Oh, God. Man.
And you have to fit both and all of the villains and all of it. It was like you were at 100 miles an hour and you never stopped until the end.
So, from what I'm hearing, this sounds really, really bad. Originally, I was going to say the winner was the more kid-focused episodes of Zyuranger because that was the one that we both have experienced.
Fair.
But what you're explaining here is just ridiculous. I'm tempted to just give that the win.
I'm not going to argue it because, again, when I said that I had watched this, I said the one that most people love to hate. And this is why. Because it doesn't do either of the series it adapts justice. It can't. For whatever reason. And the actors are trying their best. And I appreciate their hard work. And I enjoyed watching them. I enjoyed watching them do what they could with the material. It's not a good show.
And that's why it's the worst.
And that's the worst.
The winner is
Megaforce.
and Super Megaforce. Power Rangers, yes.
Power Rangers, if I hadn't made that clear by talking about it so much.
All right.
Now,
Anyway,
the next category, parts/elements no one should ever rip off.
AKA worst part of a work not from 2020. Now, some of these are works we have definitely seen before 2020, but we just include them anyways.
The ones I put in here are all ones I experienced in 2020.
Not me.
For what it's worth. But anyway.
I didn't care at this point.
Not a problem.
Nominee.
Tom Haverford from Parks and Recreation. Just Tom Haverford. He's so whiny. He talks like this all the time, and he's so spoiled, and he thinks he's so cool, and he's like the least cool person.
Nominee, the stylized speaking in The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, wait, that one was... Yeah, I read that out of order.
That's fine.
It's a stylized speaking sort of thing.
Well, okay. If I literally have to read a line of dialogue like 3 times to understand what the heck they're trying to actually say, I realize this book, particularly this book, like every book, is somewhat a product of its time.
Yeah.
I mean, the themes in Huckleberry Finn, which the basically loose quote-unquote sequel to The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, also by Mark Twain.
Right, yes.
It really grapples with the context of slavery.
Right.
Because
heavy stuff, yeah.
It's really heavy stuff. It's a really good book.
It's a great book, yeah.
But, having to reread through this person's lines just to understand, why are you spelling child with an E at the end? Oh, why are you...
That is a bit weird.
Well, it's child rather than child. And some of these things, that one's not terribly guilty of being hard to understand, but like a lot of the words, it's like, what the heck is he trying to say?
Like, I am guilty of, altering some people's speech in dialogue, to make them have an accent, which some people say you shouldn't do. I think it's fine, especially if it's like for a work that's meant for younger audiences. Like Harry Potter does that for Hagrid all the time.
Yeah.
And like, if it's for like an adult audience, like for grown-ups, probably not. But
yeah.
But for something like that, then yeah, I think it's all right. But definitely still want to make it understandable, though.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If it is understandable to us now, it's really hard. Maybe at the time it was fine, even for kids. But like, I don't know that context. So
anyways,
it's not worth ripping off. Moving on. Nominee.
This is a bit less heavy than slavery and others. The lemurs in Disney's Dinosaur.
They shouldn't have existed. Do I need to say more? Even I knew that.
What's the primate called that lived back then? Purgatorius. And it looked more like a squirrel than a lemur. So.
Even I, who is not a host of Paleobites, go listen. Anyway, yeah, they shouldn't have existed. They're cute. I get why they use them.
The executives were like, dinosaurs aren't relatable. We need something cute and cuddly and human-like.
Nominee.
Alita's ginormous eyes and Alita Battle Angel. Yeesh.
Second time we brought Alita up this episode. How did you get that? By sailing the high seas.
Oh, see, you did it. You finished it. Wait, no, this is the third
this is the same episode.
Oh, God. See, we just talked about, briefly on the curtain, we just talked about we're having to record the 4th episode off the air. I'm going to have to remember about the pirate thing when we record this in a couple weeks' time.
I'm
man.
Making a note.
Thank you. You're the glue that keeps this show together, David.
I try.
Anyways. Yeah, those are eyes. Jeez. I was amazed, actually, how... That movie was a box office disappointment, but I'm actually amazed how well it did. Based on those eyes. Like that... Oh, man.
You're thinking they're doing too much racial profiling, and so it should have done worse, is what you're saying?
They're just huge. They're unnatural.
They are unnatural, I'll give it that. But anime eyes, I mean, when have those ever been
You
natural?
know what's the nice thing about anime eyes? They're animated.
At least they're drawn.
Yeah. They're cartoons.
At least they're drawn. All right.
Nominee.
What were we? Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of racial stuff like that, whitewashing in Hollywood. Can't wait for the upcoming live-action Pocahontas movie starring Scarlett Johansson.
Now, in defense of really good actors...
Here we go.
In defense of really good actors...
Let's hear this.
Good at acting, it should not matter what ethnicity they have.
If the character's race doesn't matter, then yes.
If the character's race does not matter...
But if the character's race is intrinsic to who they are...
Or if you're not seeing the person, like, physically present. If you're doing a voice... Now... I understand that some people won't agree with me, and that's fine. Because, doing a voice well doesn't really mean you should be the one doing it, and I am all for having people played by those that are supposed to look the same, esque, rather than gods of Egypt, for example.
Well, I don't know. It's just like if a character's race is intrinsic to who they are, then they should be played by actors of that race.
You should be doing your level best to find somebody who is. Now, yeah, you won't be getting A-list stars doing that stuff in that rate because, heck, these people are probably getting a break by doing this.
Right. And also, but like if a character, it doesn't matter what race they are, then yeah, they can be anything. They can be anyone. So,
Anyway, but the general whitewashing of, especially in the last few years,
It's gotten better.
it's gotten better like the last 2, but before that, particularly, whitewashed films in general were very common, way too common for my tastes.
Yes.
So, Gods of Egypt, by the way, was the film that I thought of for this nominee, whether we made the joke about Scarlett Johansson being in upcoming Pocahontas or not.
Right.
Anyway, last one, and I'll have to read this both myself, but anyway.
Nominee.
The Fist of the North Star from Fist of the North Star.
Whoa! What's so bad about this fist?
It's literally known as a killer fist.
Hey, that's the name of my pugilist name, fighting name.
The show itself is actually really good, though.
Oh well.
It is a very popular manga that turned into an anime, and I watched the anime via Netflix while I was still in Japan in the year 2020, which is why it's on here. But
okay.
Basically, the whole way that show goes about fights and what basic strikes from bare hands can do is ludicrous. It's completely shonen manga, shonen for young boys. It's completely that in a nutshell, and yet it's just like, God, why would anybody want to rip that off?
I don't know. It sounds great to me. All right, well.
Tell you what, you wouldn't want to be hit by him. The main character has a catchphrase, "You're already dead." After he hits you once, and your brain typically expands and explodes.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's not great.
I don't like those ones are you're already. It's like the times when someone slashes a bunch and it just stands there and the person's
And then all of a sudden
what
it just
happened?
falls apart.
And then you just fall apart. Yeah, that's not how it would work. But
It's not, and that's another reason why. But anyway, do we need a winner or just move on from this?
I mean, I think we should probably have a winner because we have winners for all of these.
That's true. We have a winner for everything else.
Just for our sake to remain relevant in this woke culture.
Woke.
Which I am all for, by the way.
I'm thinking. Oh, you remaining woke? You're all for?
I'm all for remaining woke. Woke is a good thing.
God.
As someone who is woke, yes.
Yeah, totally. Right. I'm thinking that.
I'm a straight white man, but I am on your side. I am an ally. You can tell how humble I am about it, too. Yeah.
Well, good for you being an ally, but come on.
Anyway.
I'm thinking that one. What say you?
Yep, I'm thinking it, too.
All right, so the winner is those ginormous eyes from Alita's Battle Angel.
I thought you were focused on that. Whoops. Okay. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the whitewashing. I thought we were focused. That was my cursor on there.
Oh, that's your cursor. You didn't see mine.
All right. Yeah, fine. I agree. Alita's ginormous eyes.
Well, I mean, the only reason I did that one is because that one's an actual, concrete one movie as opposed to whitewashing in Hollywood.
Well, and also, to be fair, as we mentioned, whitewashing has gotten better. So
that is true.
The enormous eyes were still there to horrify us just a year ago. So
yes. Anyway, we usually have a category that can only be called special. Our special category for this year.
Yes. Well, beforehand we had best butt. Then we had moments
we'd go gay for.
Moments that nearly turned us gay. Then we had our best Frankenstein.
Our best Frankenstein's monster pieces, where we literally composited things together.
But this time,
year,
just remember, listeners, this is more variable than you might think.
This is a little bit more variable than you might think at first blush. But remember, we are 20-something males, so
best chest.
All right. Well. Should we just go down the list? We'll read them all and then talk about it, or what do you want to talk about as we go?
Let's keep going like the creeps we are.
Nominee
Elizabeth Olsen from the WandaVision trailers and the MCU in general.
I mean, this is from 2020 section, so
I really like her costume, guys. Shows off her nice Olsen twins, you know.
Those are her sisters. What are you talking about? No, I'm kidding.
God, I'm such a creep. I just said I was an ally. What am I doing?
You're undermining yourself. That's what you're doing. All right.
Nominee
Aquaman's pecs.
I mean, when it has that scale on it. By the way, we talked about this at the time in the Witties, but like that costume looks so badass.
It does.
For how silly it was.
It's great how it looks so much like the original costume,
like
but at the same time looks so
thing,
badass.
The scaly thing. Oh my god, it just set off his chest. It was amazing.
Those big beefcake,
Big beefy pecs. They're great.
Anyways,
Nominee.
Wonder Woman, specifically the armored W on her chest.
Oh, so it's not about her Wonder Twins. It's about the W.
You know, Gal Gadot is a model, so you know they
Hey, if everybody could pull off model good looks, who would model? That's all I'm gonna say.
That's true. What's the point? Models need to be there to remind us lesser folk that we're lesser, you know, to show us our place.
Nominee.
The Dead Man's Chest from Pirates of the Caribbean. Dead Man's Chest. It's a chest.
It is a chest.
It has a heart in it.
It has a heart in it.
I mean, that's a good chest. I mean, it's the name of the movie. How many other chests are named after?
Well, pretty much any treasure chest has the opportunity to be like part of the title, I suppose.
I mean, it's Treasure Island, not Treasure the island with the treasure chest on.
It's a really good chest, guys. What can we say?
It's a great chest.
I thought about including in here as the last nominee. I thought about doing a chest of drawers.
Yeah,
but
that's not from
instead of that,
Nominee.
the loot boxes in Overwatch. You know, loot boxes as a category of its own there can be kind of scummy, but Overwatch does it great because it's just cosmetics.
just the right amount of chest.
I mean, as many as you want. You can buy as many chests as you want. It's just cosmetic stuff. It's not like
This is gradually getting worse. It's hilarious.
or better. It's getting more. But so so it's a good example of a loot box. It is gambling still, so I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Fair enough.
But otherwise, it's a good chest. The loot boxes.
It's a very good chest. It's a very good chest. Anyway.
All right. Well, who's our winner?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We've got three directions we can go in this. We can either be chauvinists, or we can go gay, or we can totally go in a different direction. I don't know which is the right answer here.
I mean, I really like.
Oh, and by the way, if we're chauvinists, we have to pick which one we prefer.
That's true. Well, out of the two, I definitely prefer one over the other. But
well, if you're looking for a hint, listeners, just think about what he said regarding those two nominees.
Well, I think
Dead Man's Chest it is.
that's what I was thinking. The winner is the Dead Man's Chest in Pirates of the Caribbean. Dead Man's Chest. A chest so good, it's the title of the movie.
A chest so amazing, including a heart, that it's the part of the title right there.
It's not only the title of the movie; it's the MacGuffin. It's the whole plot of the movie is getting that thing.
Pretty much.
It's the best chest.
It's the most important chest, and that is better than best. All right. Well, from our stuff that we discovered in 2020 segment of the Writ, that's all we got.
Yes, a huge thank you to all our patrons so far.
Yes, particularly for those of you who are interested in finding out more about those Paleobites things we talked about, go check that out.
Yes.
Patreon.com/Matthew Donald.
Indeed. You can contact us at mattsd@MatthewDonaldCareer.com for any general questions to either co-host. Please specify David or Donald for which one.
Mm-hmm. And that would really help us if you had episode ideas or if you had questions that we could answer. Let us know if we can share that stuff on the air for your fellow listeners as well. Appreciate that.
Indeed. If you want to follow me personally, you can follow me at Matthew Donald Creator on Facebook, at Matthew Donald 64 on Twitter, and Matthew Donald 64 on Instagram. Why 64?
I don't know.
Because that you can say it to anything. Anything I say here. Well, specifically, there's actually the amount of many times a day I swipe left on dating apps.
Oh, jeez.
I'm very, very, very picky. I wonder why I'm single.
I haven't figured that out yet. Anyway, thanks for tuning into the Witties. We'll be back next week with our last in this set for 2020 Witties year.
I'm Matt Donald.
I'm Matt David. And until then, please keep on writting. Keep on keeping yourself and your loved ones safe.
Wash those hands. Wear
masks if you're in public.
And keep writing.
Yeah, well, I say keep writing.
Yeah.
Anyway, until then, take care.
Bye.
The Writ
This is really, really great for the writing muscle.